Hello, everyone. My name is Shyann Olley, and I am a current graduate student at Grand Canyon University in the College of Education Master's Program Department. As a student affairs professional, it is my duty to understand different laws and regulations of the institution, along with the legal rights of students and administrators of the institution. Further, it is my responsibility to ensure that I, along with my students, are upholding these laws and being respectful of all other individuals at the institution. When it comes to my profession, I will always do my best to promote the well being of each individual student. This is because the protection and well being of students go hand in hand with their academic and social development and success. One key topic that is necessary to discuss is what the legal status of students attending higher education means and how it can be promoted and practiced by different administrators of the institution. The legal status of students attending higher education refers to students' rights in higher education. All students must be recognized as adults with their own enforceable constitutional rights as discussed by Kaplan and Lee. This also means that students have their own responsibilities under many state laws and are accountable for their rights, actions, and consequences if they arise. As members of higher education institutions, students are protected by civil rights, constitutional rights, institutional rights, and contractual rights. There are many rights that students attending higher education institutions have, including the right to learn, the right to a qualified teacher, the right to fair assessment, the right to be seen and taught as individuals, the right to receive support, the right to be respected for their differences, the right to be treated with kindness, and the right to express themselves freely, and the right to feel safe. These rights have a lot to do with the treatment of students by teachers. As a student affairs professional, we must remain aware of and promote the legal rights of the students. Students attending higher education institutions need to feel safe, protected, and supported. When they can feel these things, they are more likely to grow and succeed academically, socially, and spiritually, as mentioned above. Kaplan and Lee move on to discuss the ways in which the courts view the relationships between students and the institution. While attending higher education institutions, students are viewed as contracting parties who have rights under both express and implied contractual relationships with the institution. There are contractual relationships between students and the institution at both private and public universities. Some examples of contractual rights between students and the institution are housing contract or lease, the food service contract, and the loan agreement. Further, courts often view the student handbook or guidelines as a contract between the student and the institution. The student handbook is important because it is the first thing a student or educator can turn to if a legal issue arises. These are considered written contracts and they bind the student to the institution and insinuate that both the student and institution will follow the rules of the contract to prevent legal issues from occurring. Contractual relationships between students and institutions go beyond written contracts such as the handbook. There is also an amorphous contract between students and the institution that insinuates when a student attends an institution, they will finish with the degree they sought to earn. However, this contract theory does not apply to all individuals in all situations. Aside from students having a legal relationship with the institution, students also have a legal obligation in relationship with other students. While attending a higher education institution, it is important that all students refrain from any harassment, misconduct, or discrimination against another student. Students have legal rights they must follow to avoid litigation and other consequences. These legal obligations are framed both by external law, especially tort law and criminal law, and by the internal law of the institution. The most pertinent law is likely to be found in student conduct codes, housing rules, and rules regarding student organizations. Because institutions are typically the ones who produce the rules, they are often involved in any legal dispute between students. Although students are not usually agents of the institution, there may be cases where the institution may be held liable for issues concerning students. Students can be liable for harm caused to other students. A common example of this can be found in sorority or fraternity hazing rituals. As a former student, I have witnessed a case in which a student from a fraternity at the institution I attended was found legally responsible for the injuries of young boys sustained when he was forced to eat about a dozen onions and drink a case of beer and then hike up a mountain. This is a case of negligence. Another issue that occurs quite frequently between students is peer harassment. This harassment can be bullying someone or a group of people because of their sex, gender, age, appearance, and more. Students must understand the severity of harassment to remain out of legal issues. This is because when peer harassment goes too far, such as assault and battery or emotional distress of a peer, it can result in legal liability. Further, it is important to discuss Title IX or Title IX and the relevance it holds to relationships between students at higher education institutions. Title IX of the Education Amendments of 1972 is a federal law that prohibits discrimination, harassment, or misconduct based on sex. Under Title IX, all students must refrain from discriminating or harassing any other student or person. It is important to have protection from discrimination and harassment in the activities students engage in and the communities they are a part of. When it comes to students' legal relationship with other students, it is important to understand the saying, treat others how you would like to be treated. Along with the legal relationship students have with the institution they attend and their peers, students also have a legal relationship with administrators at the institution. Students must legally respect and follow rules and regulations regarding administrators, and administrators must legally respect and follow the rules and regulations regarding students. Students and administrators must respect one another and follow Title IX as discussed above. Administrators must not discriminate against students and ensure that all students are provided with same opportunities and resources needed to succeed. Administrators at higher education institutions must understand the responsibilities they have when working with student files and records, along with the different laws regarding student files and records. This includes student academic files, behavior files, personal information, and health records. The Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act, also known as FERPA, is a federal law regarding the rights and protections of student records and files. Under FERPA, parent guardians have certain access and rights to their children's education records. When it comes to student files and records, it's important to always respect the students and to not overshare their information. Student files should be protected at all costs and only shown to the student and their guardian. Further, student records should only be discussed when necessary. Understanding the importance of protecting student files and records is critical to our job as student affairs professionals. There are many student-focused regulations that govern the responsibilities of the Student Affairs Department, including housing regulations, searches and seizures, freedom of speech, campus security, and support services for students. These regulations are placed to protect students and provide a set of guidelines for both the students and the institution to follow. Understanding and promoting these regulations are detrimental to student development and wellness. When professionals at the institution disregard these relationships, it can lead to legal issues for the professionals and potentially the institution, depending on the severity of the case. When it comes to students attending higher education institutions, student affairs professionals must understand the legal status students have, along with the different laws and regulations pertaining to students, including Title IX and FERPA. When these rights and regulations are understood and promoted, the students will be able to succeed in a safe environment. Thank you.